We hear a whole lot about toxic masculinity, but we don't hear too much about transformed masculinity. A masculine man is not a toxic man, but an unhealed one is. Let's talk about the signs, the symptoms, and the struggles of the toxic male. I'm mic'd up. Join me, and let's mix it up. What's going on, family? What's good people? How you doing? How you living? How's it going? What's happening? I hope you're doing well. Well, I need you to hit the thumbs up button on this video. Come on, family. Hit the thumbs up button on this video. I don't want you to be a ghost follower. If you're not a subscriber to this channel, hit the subscribe button. Come on. I'm growing your greatness. Help me to grow our channel. Yes. We're talking today about tales of the toxic male. Ooh-wee. Gonna get into it. The signs, the symptoms, and struggles. Yeah, of the toxic male. Let's jump on into it. Hear me. If you don't emotionally detox, you will attract people who are toxic. And here it is, for the sake of transparency, a lot of us like toxicity. Yes, you do. It's fun. You like getting your emotions all riled up. Oh, he too much of a good guy. He boring. Don't do nothing for your emotions. Some guys like being toxic because here's what it is. With your toxic behavior, now you're able to tap into hers. Yeah. You want her to be real spicy. Have an attitude. Your favorite color is red because you like red flags. Tell the truth, shame the devil. You don't want to leave the person that you're with who you know is toxic. Who you know is a trauma bonder. Why? Because you said the devil I know is better than the one I don't. Yeah. If you don't emotionally detox, you will attract people who are toxic, and you will stick with those. You'll be gorilla glued to them. You'll be crazy glued to some crazy folk who have not unpacked much of their unhealed trauma, their crazy issues. As I've stated before, and hear me, masculinity is oftentimes a mask. The prefix of masculinity is pronounced mask. The disconcerting narrative concerning men these days is about toxic masculinity. We hear that repletely and repeatedly. Across the country, men and women are united in condemning toxic masculinity. And everyone seems to agree that is very, very bad. But here's the thing. I don't hear too many people defining what toxic masculinity is. But that's what we're going to do. What is toxic masculinity? The term was coined by Dr. Shepard Bliss, to underscore and highlight domination, highlight aggression, highlight, here it is, cultural disassociation of men. It's not that these aspects don't exist. However, I'll go on record saying this. I don't like the term. I don't like it. I don't like the term toxic masculinity. Because here, why don't I like it? One is that it negatively paintbrushes all individuals who are born male. Secondly, it asserts that masculinity is inherently bad. That's the furthest thing from the truth. So automatically you are indicted simply because you're born male? Is something inherently inside of your DNA as a male becoming a man? That's toxic. Furthest thing from the truth. Here's the thing. Masculine traits are not evil. Masculine traits in and of itself are not toxic. Masculinity in and of itself is not a defect. It's not a deformity. It is not something that is negative in humanity, much less male anatomy. Here's what the term toxic means. Toxic means poisonous. Toxic means pernicious. It means pervasive. It means harmful. It is a biohazard to oneself and others. We have equated masculinity to being broken, so much so that we refer to masculinity as toxic. Do you hear what I'm saying? We've equated masculinity to being so broken, so much that we refer to masculinity as that which is toxic. As if being masculine automatically renders you broken. Not true, my dear brothers and sisters. Not true, ladies and gentlemen. And here's the thing. I'm not excusing men. I'm explaining men. It's not an excuse. It's an explanation. Why? Because it's become so bad with boys will be boys terminology and rhetoric, and men behaving badly, that masculinity, I got to roll up my sleeves on this one because we're going to work. That masculinity solely in and of itself, by itself, is deemed to be pernicious, is deemed to be pervasive, is deemed to be very, very bad. Even if you're going to talk about masculinity at all, in a positive light, it has to have an adjective attached to it. Yeah. Masculinity in and of itself seemingly cannot stand on its own. So, to talk about it in positive light, it's got to have an adjective attached to it. So, for the sake of that, I prefer to use balanced. Balanced masculinity. Healed masculinity. Transformed masculinity. In the context of how we view it in society. Come on, family. Type balanced. Type healed. Type transformed. No toxicity in the masculinity. Balanced, healed, transformed. No such thing as toxic masculinity in many cases. It is those who are toxic individuals. Come on. We don't say toxic femininity, but there are some women who are toxic. But here's the thing. Let me talk to the all police. We can't paintbrush all y'all. We can't do it. Can't paintbrush all men. Can't paintbrush all women. It is only those who are the anomalies. Who have adopted those traits, that are deleterious to relationships, much less their own destiny. Some of us have been hurt by people, and so we remain closed off. because the perception portrait of how we are supposed to behave as a man has always been painted with pain, infidelity, abuse, mistrust, lies, and deceit. Those are the toxic traits. And so as a result, we enter relationships from a deficit-based mindset. We enter relationships with someone who may see us from a skewed light, who may see us from a toxic light. We enter relationships with unprocessed pain, with bitterness that we attract. And as I said before, but so nice, let me say it twice. If you don't emotionally detox, you will attract people who are toxic. On a deeper level, beyond attracting, here's what you do. Now you are connecting. You are now connecting due to trauma bonding. Here's the thing, from birth, males have been indoctrinated. From birth, we have been indoctrinated. We've been socialized. We've been taught to perform. We've been taught to protect. We've been taught to provide. We've been taught to procreate. That's what males have been taught. Perform, protect, provide, procreate. And here's the thing, we can do all of that without realizing our purpose and living in proximity to and for and with our purpose. As men, we oftentimes struggle with emotional and relational intelligence. Think about our world. It's shifted from manufacturing-based society to a service economy of automation. Thereby you get artificial intelligence, get AI, automation, all ancillary aspects to where our world is now. Hard skills to soft skills. And to thrive in today's world, what you need soft skills of the mind. You need soft skills of the spirit. That being emotional and relational intelligence rather than just hard skills like the tactical work. Solely about brawn versus brain. Here's the thing, for many men, for many of us, our weakest part is emotional intelligence. Our weakest part is relational intimacy. Simply because we are not socialized to work on that as men. As men, we're trained to work out our problems in silos. Work out your problems by going to the gym. Work out your problem in a silo. Work out your problem by being a lone wolf rather than having a support system. I love the support system in here, in this YouTube channel. Yeah. Why? Because it's a channel for change. It's a channel that creates change. This is a channel that breaks chains. It's not just my channel. This is our channel. Come on, family. Type ours. It's a support system in here. So shout out to all the members in the chat. I love seeing your badges. I really, really, really do. If you haven't got a membership, go get one. Link is in the chat. Link is in the description. Conversations like this one right here that we're having right here, right now, right here, right now is why you need to join the channel and get a membership badge right here and right now. Join our YouTube channel. Become a member today. We got 3 tiers. Cheers for 3 tiers. VIP, royalty, OQP. Getting a lot of behind the scenes, exclusive footage, coverage, inspiration, insight, information that I don't share here, only for our members. Membership has its privileges. Get members only discounts. Be a part of our growing, be a part of our glowing community of quality people. You're a quality person. Join our quality crew and make it do what it do. Come on, family. Thumbs up this video. If you're not a member of my Eagles community, go join now. Come on. Be a part of our Eagles community. Take a flight into your future. Through our group coaching, our private coaching, my teaching, my training, my mentorship sessions, or what it is that I do in our Zoom room that goes beyond what we do here in YouTube. Go right now, theeaglesacademy.com. Tap the Join Now button, fill out the form, be transformed. Eagles, empowered, authentically gifted leaders envisioning success. TheEaglesAcademy.com. Go there right now. What we have done is we're talking about the toxic male, signs, symptoms, and struggles. Yeah. So we're talking about the toxic male. Here's what I realize. We have trained boys to run away from emotions and only see emotions as weakness. Did you hear what I just said? So by the time we have been reared for 18 plus years in seeing emotions as weakness, by the time we're in our 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, beyond that, we're far removed from even having anything to do with emotions at all. Because here's the thing, when we expressed emotions, somebody told us, stop crying, stop being a girl. And we didn't just hear that from boys. We didn't just hear that from men. Sometimes we heard it from mothers. Sometimes we heard it from women. Sometimes we heard it from those who are our significant others. Sometimes we heard it from the girlfriends that we had. Sometimes what we disclosed to you, you used against us. And so now we've shut the vault door of our emotions, never to come out. Trapped inside of us is love. Trapped inside of us is the desire to connect. Trapped inside of us is the desire to really relate and really reveal ourselves to somebody. That's the point of human existence. You want to reveal yourself to somebody. Intimacy, into me see, allowing somebody to see into you as you see into them. That goes beyond the physical. It's the spiritual. It's the relational. It's the emotional. It's the intellectual. And as a consequence, because we have shunned emotions, because we have just been taught to run away from emotions and only see emotions as weakness. As a consequence, we don't want nothing to do with emotions when we become men. Or some would say a grown boy. So here it is as a result. Can I do a deep dive? Can I dissect this thing? If you don't have my book, The Mask of Masculinity, the link is in the chat. The link is in the description. Go to Amazon, get it. Get a signed copy, EddieConnorJr.com. Let's do a deep dive into this thing. Any sadness, any fear, any loneliness, any anxiety, it gets transformed into anger. Do you hear me? The tears, the sadness, the fear, the loneliness, the anxiety, it only gets transformed into anger, because we have deemed anger as the only worthwhile emotion for men to express. You don't want to have this real conversation. Brothers, we're unpacking our baggage. Sisters, giving you a deep dive into the mindset of a masculine man, the mindset of where it is that we are, dealing with toxic masculinity. You don't want to talk about emotions because that's what women do. No, healed men are able to express how they feel without asserting it's soft, it's weak, or feminine. Why? Because they are evolved in their emotions. They are emotional. They are emotionally intelligent. We have this idea that a mature man is someone who doesn't need others. And I need you to hear me. That's the farthest thing from the truth. Everything we know about psychology, everything we know about humanity and social sciences is that we really do need others. No man is an island. I believe it was John Donne who said it. Martin Luther King echoed it. No man is an island. We are all a part of the main. We are all connected. We are all interconnected. We function better as a community. Family life, upbringing, it all affects relationships. Family, so important. Because oftentimes, even family is one of the key ingredients that leads to toxicity. We are in adulthood where we have experience in childhood. Some of us were not raised on love. We were raised on survival. We saw a lot of toxicity. We saw a lot of upheaval. You saw abuse. You saw misuse. You saw mistreatment. You saw people talking to each other, not as human beings. You saw a lot of distrust. You saw a lot of mistrust. Rocker Lenny Kravitz was quoted as saying, he messed up his relationship, much less his marriage, with Lisa Bonet, simply because he began to play out all of the toxicity that he saw his unfaithful father live out. And the sins of the father revisit the son. Not just singular, but even plural. The sons, even 4 generations down the line. The toxicity of what it is that we have not healed from because we have not recognized the signs. We have not diagnosed the symptoms. And we're suffering in silence, struggling. I got a special message in the midst of this special message. Don't go anywhere. Don't touch that dial. Got more breakthrough on the other side of this break. Stick and stay. More's on the way. After these messages, I'm coming right back. Are you an author or aspiring author interested in building your book? Do you want to develop as a speaker and communicator? Listen, check out my array of solutions and systems like my bestseller book blueprint and successful speaker strategies. Explore my tailor-made programs designed to nurture your purpose and grow your greatness in order to increase your ideas, your impact, and your influence. Visit us today at theeaglesacademy.com/store so you can soar. Yes, y'all. And we don't stop. Make sure that you heed to those resources that you've heard. Let's get back to the word. Family, we're having a courageous conversation right now. Drop a super chat, drop a super sticker. There's a lot of HTA going on right now. A lot of hard truth alerts, a lot of HTC, a lot of hard truth conversations that's going on right now. It's a courageous conversation, super conversation. Drop a super chat, drop a super sticker. Thumbs up this live. Thumbs up this live. We're talking about tells of the toxic male. Signs, symptoms, and struggles. Transform masculinity is more important than toxic masculinity. And here's the thing. A lot of times our masculinity is toxic simply because that's all we saw. That's all we witnessed, from the media to the magazines to the movies to what metastasized in our lives. What we saw in our family. We didn't see, according to Proverbs 13, verse 22, necessarily. Salute to the good men that are out there. They're out there. Salute to the good grandfathers and the fathers. Where would we be without them? But we didn't always see the example of Proverbs 13, verse 22, which affirms a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. Because here's the thing, taking care of your family is about more than just providing financial resources. Generational wealth, rather. It's very good. Generational wealth is very good, but an intergenerational transfer of wealth and wisdom is even better. It's about being present emotionally. It's about being present mentally and spiritually. No man is perfect, but are you present? No man is perfect, but is your presence worth it? It's about investing it's about investing with your time. Because your time is your greatest resource. Children spell love Time. And here's the thing. I'll say this. One of the things that I wish I had with my dad was more time. I'm not talking about gifts. Yeah, my dad is still alive. But guess what? Those years that have passed on are long gone. Parents divorced. Raised by a single mother. How do you play a role if you weren't given a script? How do you become a man if you don't see one, much less interact with one? Notice I didn't say I wanted more gifts from my dad. Would have been great if I had more time with my dad. Time would have been great if he had invested it more. Coming to my game. He was a great college basketball player. Helping me with my game. Spoke a number of different languages. Incredible mathematician. You ask him, what's 335 times 654? He can do it right in his head without a calculator. Master mind. But a lot of the information and the wisdom that he had remained in his mind. It was not passed down. It was not an intergenerational transfer of wisdom. So guess what? I had to learn through other positive male mentors. I'm grateful. Shout out to my principal, Mr. Herb Ivory, called me the other day, said he loves watching this YouTube, especially the men's series. Shout out to one of my other mentors, Mr. Jay Melton. Shout out to other men and pastors and leaders. Pastor Homer Jameson. Individuals who have come into my life, put their arms around me. And maybe it wasn't them leading with their words. It was with their actions. Things that were missing. Time. Greatest resource. You can get gifts back. You can get money back. But you can't get time back. What is it to mentor? What is it to inspire? What is it to build up everybody else and everyone else's family? But your home is crumbling. Because here's the thing. We often lose sight of our first ministry, which is to our family. You got all the titles in the world, but title means nothing without function. Here it is. Title without function is toxic. Because you leave it to the devices of the world to raise your family, to rear your children. You got BET and MTV and PlayStation 3 and Jeezy, Weezy, Yeezy and Jay-Z and Nicki Minaj and Lil Uzi and Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion. And Lord have mercy, Sexy Red, raising your children. And now you're dealing with a whole bunch of red flags. Family is your first ministry. What can you do? What can we do? What can you do to be a better son? What can you do to be a better husband? What can you do to be a better brother, a leader, a father? Your family matters. You know, they said what goes on in this house stays in this house, but it never does. Our experiences come with us wherever we go. You take you wherever you go. You're going to be with you for the rest of your life. You can't get rid of you. And what are the traumatic events that took place in your family history that have never been addressed? As to why now, here it is, by osmosis, you adopted toxic traits. Because children don't do what you say, children do what you do. Children model what you mentor. Do you hear me? There's good and bad mentors. And here's the thing. We can't fight for our family if we're fighting our family. Hurting people hurt people. Heal people heal people. Old wounds need to be closed. New healing doors need to be opened. Forgiveness has to take place. Courageous conversations like this one need to happen. We have to address and remedy the issues within our family, we have to keep the focus on the family. And it moves into a place of matured masculinity. We have an idea. Come on, family, type focus on the family. Type family, family, family. Shouldn't be animosity in the family. We have this idea that a mature man is someone who doesn't need others. That's the farthest thing from the truth. Family life matters. Community matters. It fosters the upbringing and the development of our relationships. Again, as I told you, Dr. Sigmund Freud said we are an adulthood what we have experienced in childhood. We train boys and we train men to act out their feelings, not to talk through them. Did you hear what I just said? We train boys and men to act out their feelings rather than to talk their feelings out. My dear sister from another mister, you got some issues going on? You getting on the phone all night long, all night long. Lionel Richie gets a little sticky because here's the thing: you're gonna work out your issues. You're gonna talk to somebody. You're gonna have somebody be a sounding board. For us as men, we oftentimes keep it within. We don't verbalize, we internalize. And that's why it hurts us so much that when we disclose pertinent, private information to you, and it's like we give you a key toward the house of our heart, and you take that key and you share it with somebody else. Or here it is, you use that key to cut us and use it against us. Many of us never open up again because in your rage, in your fury, you took what we said and you used it against us. And so now we recognize that you're giving us some Miranda rights. We got a right to remain silent because we know that anything we say can and will be used against us by you in your court of law. Here's the thing. Here's the toxic thing about it. When we train boys and men to only act out their feelings, not to talk out their feelings, here's the thing. Here's the flip side. Here's the caveat. Here's the disclaimer. That which you don't talk about, you act out. Where's Tevin Campbell at? Can we talk for a minute? A lot of us don't even do that. That which you don't talk out, you act out. What do I mean? That's why you see more criminal behavior in men. We act out, we don't talk out. He got impulsive. He wasn't emotionally intelligent. Nobody taught him how to unpack his trauma. And guess what? Because of his triggers, he pulled the trigger. Do you hear what I'm saying? Listen, I'm not condoning it. I'm confronting it. I'm not excusing it. I'm explaining it. I need you to hear me. I'm not condoning it. I'm confronting it. I'm not excusing it. I'm explaining it. You judge the fruit, but you don't know the root. That which we don't talk out, we act out. That's why you see more criminal behavior in men. You see more shootings in men. You see more bar fights in men. You see more domestic violence in men because we train men not to talk about what is going on inside of them. So yeah, the masculinity is toxicity. But don't paintbrush us all. It's the pattern of the person, not a whole group of people. As a consequence, because of it, they pass their pain on to others. Why is that? Because of unaddressed trauma. You say men have no emotions? You have no clue. The he-motions that we have. The things that hurt our heart. The things that have never been talked about. The trauma of what it is that we have experienced. Things that have been exacted upon our lives. The abuse, the misuse, the abandonment, the pain, the father wounds, the mother wounds. You have no clue. Sometimes even the man that you deal with. You know of him, but you really don't know him. The vault door of love was shut. The vault door of his heart was shut. And now here it is. He's leading while he's bleeding. He's hemorrhaging while he's hurting. He's trying to lift you up on his broken wings. He's trying to love you without limits while he feels limited. And the S on his chest doesn't just stand for Superman. Stands for the fact that he's sensitive. Stands for the fact that in many cases, he's suffering in silence. Stands for the fact that he's been sinking in depression. Stands for the fact that he's dealing with signs and symptoms and struggles of the toxicity that has raged throughout his life. I wonder, in the midst of his toughness, can you handle him with tenderness? Can you handle him with TLC? Can you handle him with tender, loving care? It's a courageous conversation if you dare. I have to go there. Come on, family, type TLC. Type TLC. This is about more than T-Bob's Left Eye and Chili. This is about more than R&B. This is about restoration and breakthroughs. That's what the R&B is for, if there's going to be one at all. Restoration and breakthroughs. Let's take a deep dive into the signs and the symptoms and the struggles even further. Family, hit the thumbs up button on this video. If you haven't gotten my book, The Mask of Masculinity, I encourage you, highly encourage you to do so. Went #1 on Amazon for a reason. You get a signed copy, EddieConnor.com. The link is in the description. #1, and these are in no particular order, signs, symptoms, and struggles of the toxic male. He shuns vulnerability because of his fragility. He shuns vulnerability because of his fragility. Award-winning author, and I hope I'm not messing up the name, but Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie said, by far the worst thing we do to males, by making them feel they have to be hard, is that we leave them with very fragile egos. Let me Say it twice because it's oh so nice. By far, the worst thing we do to males by making them feel they have to be hard, gotta be tough, is that we leave them with very fragile egos. And truth be told, the people who act the hardest are really the most fragile within. The people who act the hardest, hear me, they have a fragile, do not drop label on their lives. That's why I talked about TLC. That's why I mentioned, are you willing to handle that man with care? Brother, are you willing to handle yourself with care? Are you willing to give yourself grace? Because here's the thing, the toughness of what it is that we exude, the toughness and the mentality of what it is that in many cases has been exacted upon our lives because of how we're supposed to act, that toughness has oftentimes become an impenetrable wall. That toughness that has become an impenetrable wall has in many cases as well become a defense mechanism. Why? Because we want to avoid exposing ourselves emotionally. We don't want to wear our hearts on our sleeves. Why? Because we know how fragile we are. Being a man is hard work, but it's heart work. And here's the thing, heart work is hard work. Due to our fragility and the fragility of masculinity. Until you heal, you will never reveal who you are. I want to ask you, my dear brother, from another mother, King. Come on, family, type King in the chat. Type King in the chat. Drop a crown for the kings. Drop a crown for the kings. Yes. Only time I want you to drop your crown is in the chat. Don't want you to drop your crown. Pick your crown back up. Wipe your frown. Wear your crown. Straighten your crown. Wear your crown. Heavy is the head that oftentimes wears the crown. Drop a crown for the kings in the chat. What makes you emotionally detach, my brother? What makes you emotionally detach? Is it the attitudes that are exacted onto you? Is it the toxicity that you experience from her? I get it. Yeah, that would make you detach. I get it. Why? Because a man's peace is priceless. He should be prioritizing his peace. And when that peace is disturbed, unless he trauma bonds and likes toxicity, he don't want nothing to do with it. What makes you emotionally detached, my bruh? It's easy to be blown away by triggers. It's easy to be blown away by what triggers us. If we have not investigated the root cause of trauma that we are experiencing, we can never diagnose the symptoms and the signs and the struggles. You will always feel emotionally crushed. I need you to hear me, because you are trying to escape from what has you locked in. You'll always feel emotionally crushed, trying to escape what has you locked in. And oftentimes we refuse to be vulnerable because we know how emotionally fragile that we can be and we are as men. Easy to run from our emotions. Easy to be. You a runner, you a track star. Easy to be Usain Bolt. And bolt away from our emotions because it causes us to analyze old wounds. It causes us to have to peel off the mask rather than to express our vulnerability. The human experience as a man is about more than being stoic and strong. Here's what it's about. It's about embracing the fragility of our vulnerability. You can't heal it until you feel it. You can't reveal what you won't heal. The right people will champion it, not shun you for it. Come on, family, type champion. Our brothers not chumps, they're champions. Our brothers not chained, they're changed. Our brothers not whiners and winners. They're not whiners and worriers, they're winners and warriors. Number two. Talking about the tales of the toxic male. Signs, symptoms, and struggles. Told you number one. The toxic male shuns vulnerability because of his fragility. Secondly, intimacy is only sexual, not intellectual. Intimacy is only sexual, not intellectual. Here's the question. As a man, can you touch her without touching her? Can you touch her heart without using your hands? With your words, the way you treat her, with how you respond in many cases to conflict that may ensue, to how you recognize that, yeah, as a man, to a certain degree, you could be categorized like a tree, but to her, she's delicate. She's a flower. How are you empowering her to bloom where it is that she is planted? Society has taught us as men to shun the spiritual, shun the emotional, shun the intellectual, to only be led by the sexual and physical part of ourselves, to a certain degree, to be hypersexual. And here's the thing, in our young years, we begin to pursue intimacy through sexuality, which becomes the trajectory for our lives. Can I ask you a deep question? Is this a safe space? Is this a safe space and place? Is this a safe environment? It's just us talking, isn't it? Just our courageous conversation happening. I want to ask you this question. Can you be naked while still being fully clothed? Can you be naked while being fully clothed? What do I mean by that? I'm talking about your transparency, your authenticity, your vulnerability. I'm talking about intimacy. Into me, see. Allowing someone to see into the window of your soul while being vulnerable. Many of us as men never get to that level. Simply because intimacy came with betrayal. Intimacy came with upheaval. Intimacy came with a lot of hurt and with a lot of pain. So I'd rather just focus on the physical rather than the intellectual. And as men, we often fear emotional intimacy because we are emotionally incarcerated due to unresolved trauma. You see the suit, but you don't see the scars. You see the followers, but you don't see that he was lacking leadership. We often fear emotional intimacy because we are emotionally incarcerated. And so that's why we're emotionally detached due to unresolved trauma. Here's what emotional intimacy does. Emotional intimacy can expose the ugly of who we are. It exposes the ugly of who we are internally. What does it do? It unmasks our strengths. It reveals our struggle. It taps into the signs, the symptoms, and the struggles of what we deal with and the toxicity of what it is that has been exacted and what it is that we have incurred in our lives. We will never be ready for emotional intimacy until we are free interpersonally. Here's the thing. Can I take it even deeper when it comes to emotional intimacy? Are you really ready for this courageous conversation? Come on, family. Thumbs up this live. Thumbs up this live. Thumbs up this video. Hey, if you're not a member of our YouTube channel, if you haven't hit the subscribe button, do that. If you're not a member of our YouTube channel at all, this type of courageous conversation is why you need to join. Get a badge, VIP, royalty, OQP. So OQC right now, only quality conversation. Here's the thing about masculinity and intimacy that maybe most men don't realize and most women never knew. Intimacy was introduced to us as boys becoming men, as males, through the skewed lens of pornography. Courageous conversation. In a sexualized society, porn use is problematic. Why? Because most men only saw themselves through the lens of fantasy, not reality. And here's the thing, fantasy became escapism. But there's a deleterious effect to many of our brothers, especially, who are suffering from the addictive aspect of pornography. It affects your self-esteem, leads to depression. Now here it is, you objectify people. It distorts your relationships. When you do get married, now you're not able to connect because you focus so much on objectification. Now you're not able to really participate fully in the intimate act. Woo! Here's what a survey conducted. A survey conducted by the Barna Group found that approximately 2/3, 64% of United States men view pornography, if not weekly, monthly. And in many cases it's more than that because they are addicted. And so what has porn become? Porn has become a form of pain management. Why? Because it's the numbing of oneself to reality to engage in escapism. But escapism, hear me, becomes a form of identity entrapment. You think you're escaping to be entrapped. You think you're free, but you're bound. You're incarcerated. Psychologically incarcerated. It becomes a mask that skews your masculinity and your identity. The deleterious detour to destruction through this particular distraction makes you a shell of yourself. What does it do? It keeps you locked up psychologically when freedom is calling your name, but you've got so much noise in your ears that you can't even hear. One of the highest forms and the highest levels of masculinity is moving into a place of intimacy. And here it is. You can never be intimate with her unless you're intimate with him. Before a woman ever came on the scene in Genesis, Adam walked with God in the cool of the day. There was an intimate relationship. And for us as men, our minds have been so warped that we can't see intimacy beyond the lens of that which is physical. But God wants spiritual intimacy with you. God wants you to not ignore the degree of who it is that you were created to be, and that is with your spirit man. Your spirit man craves intimacy with God. That's why you've been waffling. That's why you've been so on edge. That's why you've been teetering. That's why you've been searching. That's why you've been sifting and shifting, moving, and in many cases breaking, simply because the man that you can't see internally, your spirit man, wants intimacy with God. Your husband and your wife is requiring, she's desiring even more intimacy. Can't be intimate with her unless you're first intimate with him, because he's going to show you how to love her. Going to show you how to treat her. He's going to show you how to communicate with her. He's going to show you that intimacy doesn't just begin in the bedroom. It begins when you've called her on her break in the boardroom. It's being able to touch her without touching her. God wants you to get in touch with him. Yeah. What's that intimacy looks like? Looks like worship. Looks like praise. Looks like prayer. Looks like study of the word. It looks like being a restored man. It looks like creating boundaries. Looks like resisting what keeps persisting. Looks like self-control. Looks like dealing with the toxicity of what's beclouded your identity. Come on, family, type intimacy and identity. The intimacy that I create with God unveils the identity of what he placed within me. I don't know who I am until I know whose I am. God is calling men back to a place of intimacy for you to know him outside of her. God had time with you before she ever came on the scene. Are you hearing me? He wants you in his presence. He wants you to saturate who you are as a person and your persona and all of your pride and all of your ego and all of why you got to beat your chest and why you are the man and how you going to make demands and how you say it's my way or no way and no way is okay. All of that goes out the window and out the door. Because here it is. Now you have to step to somebody greater than you. And it takes you acquiescing, you surrendering your will for his will. Because he's going to talk to you and show you the signs, the symptoms, and the struggles of what it is that only he can remedy. God is healing you even as I'm talking to you. The hurt that you've experienced, the things that have metastasized, the addictions of what it is, the pain of what it is that you return to, but it leaves you feeling like a shell of yourself, never being the man that God created you to be, never being the man that can lead, love, and lift the lady in your life. It's your time to be free. It's your time to step into your identity. and walk into a greater place of intimacy. God, right now, touch that man who has been void of direction, who's been distracted. He's been wondering about where it is that he should go. What is it that he should do? Who should he become? Dealing with addiction, dealing with trials and tribulations and triggers and traumas on all sides. Embrace him right now. Give him grace in his space. Come against the enemy's assignment on his life. We thank you that he's in divine alignment with his divine assignment right now. Awaken the giant within him. Resurrect that spirit. Bring him into a greater place of intimacy with you. Guard, govern, and guide his appetite so that he'll thirst, he'll hunger for you. And we thank you for doing it. We thank you for the man that he's becoming. We thank you for the king that he is, because he's connected to the King of Kings. We thank you for the husband that he will be. We thank you for him being the son, the father, the leader, the brother, the scholar, the uncle, the grandfather, the father, what it is that he may have been void of. Now you're sending exemplary individuals into his life who can love him, who can shield him, who can open the vault door to his heart that has been shut due to hurt. Heal him from the hurt, heal him from the pain, heal him from the broken heart, heal him from the woman who may have broken him, from the divorce, from the man who may have spoken evil against him and done harm and exacted it on his life. We thank you for the strength to persevere. We thank you that the toxicity is replaced with transformation. In Jesus' name, amen. Come on, family, type transformed. Oh, what a wonderful change that has come over me. He's transformed to transform the relationship. That man is transformed to where your marriage is going to be transformed. Family, I want you to sow into this word that you've heard. I do. You know I do. I want you to sow into this word that you've heard. It's not as a debt that you owe, it is a seed that you sow. I want you to sow where you grow. I want you to sow where you soar. There's more in store. You can do that via Cash App, $Access Identity, PayPal, Zelle as well, EddieConnorJr at Gmail. Yeah. We've been having a super chat. We've been having a super conversation. You might as well sow into the super chat. Drop a super sticker. It's a channel for change. It's a channel that creates change. You know, and you've seen, and you've heard that this is a channel that breaks chains. Not as a debt that you owe, it is a seed that you sow. I believe the seed will meet the need. I want you to name your seed as you're sowing your seed. Maybe you're naming your seed transformed. Maybe you're naming your seed delivered. Maybe you're naming your seed healed. Maybe you're naming your seed called. Maybe you're naming your seed blessed. I don't know what you're naming your seed, but I want you to name your seed. Sow your seed. And I'm believing that God's going to do 30, 60, 100 fold in your life. It's going to do the exceedingly abundantly above all that you can ask or think. Go ahead right now. Sow your seed. Super chat, super sticker. Cash App, $Access Identity, PayPal, Zelle, EddieConnorJr, Gmail. Links are in the chat. Links are in the description of this video. Thank you for sowing. Thank you for sowing. Thank you for sowing into good ground. Family, if you're not a part of our Eagles community, come on, you owe it to you to join. You owe it to you to join. Go right now, theeaglesacademy.com. When you get there, tap the Join Now button, fill out the form, be transformed. Take a flight of faith with us. Soar into greater success and purpose. Open new doors of opportunities in your life. Come on, we're sharpening your mindset, your skill set, your tool set to be an asset in any environment. Strategy, structure, solutions, and systems. Systems, saving yourself time, energy, and money. You ought to do that. Go right now, theeaglesacademy.com. If you're not a member of the YouTube channel, be sure to do that. VIP, Royalty, OQP, those are badges that are available. Tap the join button. Links are in the chat. Links are in the description. Conversations like this one is why you need to do so. If you don't have my book, The Mask of Masculinity, come on, get that book for yourself. Gift it to a brother. Gift it to a sister. Link is in the description of this video. Book is available on Amazon. You can get signed copies at my website, EddieConnor.com. Dealing with the fears, the father wounds, the frailties, the frustrations of what it is that we deal with as men. How men can reclaim their identity, lead in love with vulnerability, and also how women can create a safe space and place for men to be vulnerable. Go get the book now. Family, hit the thumbs up button on this video. If this has been a empowering conversation, come on, hit the thumbs up button on it. Hit the thumbs up button on this live. We're changing lives. We're transforming lives. I hope you got something from this. Did this bless somebody today? Did this bless somebody? Family, In the Mix is out of time. But y'all know I'm not out of truth. And so I want to thank you for rocking with me. I want to thank you for riding with me. I want to thank you for rolling with me. Why? Because that's just how we roll. And we do that each and every single weekday, Monday through Friday, for In the Mix right here on the YouTube side. And while you're on the YouTube side, subscribe. Yeah. Subscribe to the channel. Don't be a ghost follower at all. Come on, subscribe to the channel. I'm helping you to grow your greatness. Help me to grow this channel. Our channel. Yeah. Come on, family, type hours. It's hours. That's why I go hours and hours. Shout out to Money Long. I know I go long. Y'all don't know nothing about that. Bars, though. Follow me on social media, on all the social sites. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and we don't stop at EddieConnorJr, EddieConnorJr. If you haven't done so, hit the thumbs up button on this live. If I can help you, if I can serve you in any way, please reach out to me. If you're looking for a dynamic speaker, look no further. I'm the man for the job. Invite me to speak at your conference, your men's conference, your church, your community center, your graduation, your school, your session. Let's make some progression. Invite me in. You say, how do I do that? Simply email me, info@EddieConnor.com. It's yours truly, Dr. Eddie, your main man, 100 grand, your brother, and I mean that, from another mother. Family has been fun, but you know a brother gotta run. But I want you to know it's been a privilege and a pleasure, a treat and a treasure, a joy beyond measure. But I want you, yes, you, to remember to keep the faith and believe it's going to be bigger, better, brighter, peace, and a whole lot of love. Keep soaring high. Let's soar beyond my YouTube channel. If you want something that goes beyond here, you're in for a treat. I have a private mentorship group where I coach, where I teach, and I provide live Q&A insight in our interactive breakout sessions. It's where I challenge you with innovative exercises to develop your skill set. And I provide feedback to foster your growth. We break it all down to build you up in our private Zoom room as we focus on transformative topics with accountability partners who really desire to grow their greatness by soaring into success and greater purpose. Come on, soar to new heights with us in our Eagles Academy. Get your wings to win. And let's soar into more at the Eagles Academy.